Hi, everybody, and welcome to our session on creating standard lead pages. You'll probably remember from the previous session that there are two different types of templates. There's standard and drag and drop, and they are created differently and they work differently. So we're going to start with the standard lead page in this particular session. I will have a session devoted to the drag and drop lead page as well. So let's get started. So whether you're creating a drag and drop or a standard template lead page, it doesn't matter. You have to start by selecting the template first. The template is the blueprint, if you will, for the creation of the page. Now, with standard pages, you are very limited on what you get. You basically have to work within the structure the template gives you. The best you can do is hide the pieces that you don't like. You cannot add anything to the actual template or blueprint in standard pages. You can update the content. So one of the things that I've found difficult, because I'm a Leadpages user, is to find the page that I really want. Because some of them have things that I want and things that I don't want, but I can't seem to find one page that has everything. So it's kind of a hodgepodge. And so with standard templates, just so you understand, you pretty much what you see is what you get, and you basically can tweak the content and the customization, which I mean by styles or formatting, the colors, the branding, the logos, and images. But the first, biggest, and maybe the hardest step is to select the template that works best for you. Because if you select a new template, you basically have to start over because the structure of the page changes. And then one of the last things you want to do is update your call to action buttons. Your call to action buttons are the next step. So if they click on a button, what happens? Do they purchase something? Do they sign up for a webinar? Do they opt into something? And realize the type of page that you choose obviously controls the action buttons as well. Obviously, a sales page is going to want to complete a sale when you click on the button. An opt-in page or a webinar page is probably going to opt you in for a webinar or something for free. So a lot of these tied together by the types of page that you choose or template that you choose, okay? And I'm going to show you an integration with MailChimp. So when you're working with the call to action buttons, that's where the integration piece comes in that we did in the account settings module back in module 1. So selecting a template. This is, as I said, this can be the most difficult step because if you don't get it right, you have to start over, right? So what type of page do you need? And what I found is best is for you to just start by filtering the type of page that you need. And then do you want a free or premium, right? Which is the type that you want? So let's jump over and have a look. So I'm going to go over to templates. And I want to start on standard. Remember, you can do most recent, highest converting, filter, and I just want to keep it simple. So I want an opt-in page, let's say. So I'm going to click on opt-in, and then I'm just going to scroll. Now, when you're looking at this, sometimes the drag and drop templates are actually in here anyways, so just make sure that you want to choose a standard template for this particular session. The homework that I'll have you do will be working on a standard template as well. So remember, you can scroll through and you can hit preview and say, oh, do I like this one? Do I not like this? They're all different. And remember, you can hide pieces, but you can't add any pieces to the template. So you can see this is quite a big one, right? I'm thinking, well, that's way too big. I don't want that much information. So I keep going. Now, do you have a video? Do you not have a video? Some of these have video placeholders. You can also turn those off, by the way, if you don't want to use them. But it might change the way the page looks. And I'm not really looking so much at the description, but you could certainly do that as well. See, they say long form. So here's one, elegant, basic opt-in page. So I say, okay, let me preview this one. Maybe it has the pieces that I want. So for me, this is the hardest thing to find. Nope, don't like it. That's a drag and drop. Preview. Yeah, I could be here all day. I don't like that one at all. Aha, here we go. Here, no, that's not it either. Yeah, sorry. I know you're probably watching me going, well, just pick one. Just pick one. I'm trying. Okay, this one works. Okay, obviously if you don't like the template, you can always hit the back button here to go back, but then I'll click use this template to move forward. Okay, so here's the template. So basically the things that you're going to have to do, you obviously want to give it a name. Okay, so you can click up here and do that first, or you can do that later. Now, when it comes to naming it, a couple of things that you want to realize is that you have a page name, which is the name that shows in the list of lead pages within lead pages. So it's just the name that you give it for yourself, so you'll recognize what the lead page is for. And then you also have the URL. So you have two pieces when it comes to naming. The name as it shows up in lead pages, and then you have the actual URL name. So you want to think about that. And we're going to come back later and talk about tags and tracking codes and all this kind of stuff. But for now, we'll just do this. Now notice when I type in, it automatically fills out the URL. Now I can change this. I could just say free training opt. Or I could leave it. You might want to consider SEO when you're doing your URLs. You know, how does it play into the keywords for yourself or for your client? You know, for me, I could do free. Okay, so that has virtual assistant in it, which is my market, right? And then I could just hit done. Okay, but I just put free training, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not really. There we go. So now it's a little more descriptive. All right. So we're going to talk later about A/B test and publish and save and all this kind of stuff. Everything you can see is responsive nowadays. Most things are responsive, which means they change depending on what device they're viewed on. So you can see I can hit tablet and iPhone, so you can see what it looks like, which I love. Okay. All right. And lead page options and conversion goals, we're going to come back to those as well. So let's get started. So first and foremost, you have your content. Okay, and as you could see, as I move over and highlight any of these items, it also shows me what it is over here in the menu. So you actually have contents over here, and you can roll across these and it can show you as well. So if you're like, okay, I don't want this. So a couple of things. When you hover over an image like a video or a button, right, or an image or a picture, you'll see you have a gear in the corner here. And when you click on that, you can choose image options or you can hide it. So I could choose image options. And I could choose an image or I could upload. So this isn't actually a video, it's an image. So I could go in here and say, okay, let's look at, I can upload a new picture. Let me just grab one real quick. Now this isn't going to be a beautiful, by stretch of the imagination, page. It's just basically to show you the lay of the land, okay? So I would simply click on the one that I want. I would hit done. There you go. So it doesn't have to be an image, okay? Same thing here. When you hover over anything that has needs updating, okay, or you want to hide it, two ways you can hide it. You can hide it here. Simply click on the eye. You can also click on the gear from here. So my point is you can really change anything on this page from within the page if you're visual, or you can change it over here under content, okay? And a couple other things. Realize that every template's different. So learning lead pages is not necessarily like learning a template in MailChimp because they're all different. Everything in here is different. Every single one that you choose and the template type that you choose are going to be different. So if I decided I want my logo, right? There's a couple different things I can do. I can upload my logo, but notice that I also have the ability to have an action on my logo. Go to a specific URL, show an opt-in form, or do nothing. And then I could have a target here. So I can go in and upload my logo. Oops. Oops. Happy clicker. So let me just upload my logo real quick. You're welcome to upload anything in here that you want as well. So there it is. And then I could put my URL. Very common if you put in a logo to actually link to your website. And then you can use open in a new window, which means it opens a new tab, and use no follow. That's a rule whether there's not a link back to this page from your website. Okay. And I say done. Oh, there it is. It's kind of small. I'm like, ugh, maybe I don't like it. Now, the point to this is that that's the biggest as you can make it. So it's not like in WordPress where you can resize things. You're limited to the template that you're using. So I can't actually resize that. So I think, you know what? I don't even want it. I'm just going to take it out. Too small. Okay. Same thing. I also have a header section up here. I could just remove that whole top part. See how I can simply hide it? Now remember, each section, when you click on the gear shift over here on the left, will have different options. This one only has one. Some have others, so I'll just hide that. Okay. Now to change this, I can just double click in here and I could, change the text. You can see once I double click in a text box, I have the ability to change some options. I can change bold, italics, underline, basic font colors. I can put on a shadow. I can link. I can change the font. I can change the size, and I can change, I believe that one changes the text size, or that one probably, oh, that one removes formatting. Okay, so I can go in here and change my font. And I can change my size. Right, voila, there we go. And obviously you can change the font. Now you can copy and paste in here, so I always use Lipsum, as you know, for just dummy information. Okay, so now I can go, I just copied and pasted that in there. And then I can make it much bigger. Okay, there we go. Now I could have changed the color if I wanted, but I'm like, okay, wait, you know what? I don't like this blue block. The blue doesn't go with my my branding. So content is one thing. So this is the content page, but then you also have a styles page. Style, this is where you're going to find the different styles, okay? You can see the main font that's used. You can click on that and change it to something else if you'd rather have that. So it changes the main font throughout instead of you doing piece by piece by piece, which I rarely recommend because otherwise you'll have a heck of a time if you have a lot of text. And then here, it just basically tells you header background, line under header here, banner background, banner headline. So you can basically read this. And so you can come in here, and I can never remember what my, well, you know what? I can't remember what my new red color is. So I know what my old red color is. So I'll just put that one in there. Okay. So notice how I changed that to my old, this is my old red. I have a muted red now, but you can go in and put in your hex numbers, right? Or you can, drag around and do what you need to find it. But this will allow you. So I was like, I don't want that. So let's say I want a different, let's say I want a gray. Okay, click there. And so you want to come in here. So like say now I have a yellow button and you can actually click on these things. Oops, didn't want to do that. My call to action button actually has a button. It has a hover, has a shadow, all this kind of stuff. And you can certainly do shadows. I'm like, you know what? Let's just make the whole thing the same color. It just makes it easier. Now there's a little shadow under there, so I could leave that and I could do that as a gray maybe, right? Okay, and then the button text. Okay, then you have all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want all of these. And so I can hide. And notice how it shifts everything over. Okay, so I can go in here, I could do image options, and I could just choose an image. Remember, you can upload whatever you like. And I can hide this one. Ah, voila. Okay. This is a very short page, but you get the idea. So you could spend a lot of time under content. Okay. So I can go in here and change. Now, obviously you can copy and paste in here. Remember, once again, you have the ability to edit text, but you also have options over here. So you can have video tease. You can have this divider. So if I don't want the divider, I can turn it off. Content headline, I can turn that off. Call to action section. What if I don't want that? I can turn that off. The brand section, I don't want that. I can turn that whole thing off. Okay, which is where we had all this kind of stuff, right? See, I can turn those off. Turn that whole thing off. And there we go. And then I have my footer section. Now your footer section, you always want to have a link to like a disclaimer, your website, all that kind of stuff. And obviously you can come down here. And legal information, you could just simply link to your website if you wanted. Once again, whenever you click into a text box, these buttons appear so you can make changes. So I click on the link. Right, and then done. Now you could also add things. So I could go in here and add a word. I could put my disclaimer in here, and you can actually create disclaimer pages in here if you want. So I can just click on that. Then I would, Always good to have disclaimers, especially if you sell things. Okay, done. There we go. See how easy that is. And then of course you could change the font color if you wanted, right? So I can go up here and make it a different color. I could make it red. There you go. So on and so forth. Okay. So as you work between the styles and the content, remember you can turn off anything you don't want to see. Styles, you can also make any changes that you want. What you want to do is click on save. Okay. Now, what happens is if depending on the type of template you choose, it may not let you save until you complete what's called the lead box, which is the form piece of this. So if you're going to connect to, let's say, MailChimp or Infusionsoft or GoToWebinar, this is the integration piece. And every single template is different. Some templates have 3 or 4 call to actions. Some of them only have 1. And so I'm going to click here real quick. So this is the button that's the call to action button. Even if you hide it sometimes, it still makes you want to fill it out. So if I click on this and choose link options, right now it says I can go to a URL or I can show an opt-in form. And then I have some advanced settings down here. Okay. Now, if I want to show an opt-in form, which means it pops up a form, I need to fill in the information for the integration. Because remember, Leadpages doesn't hold the information. It gathers it, but you need a place to send it to. And so when it comes to any type of call to action buttons, you need to do the integration piece that we looked at a few sessions ago. So let me show you how this works. If you click on any call to action button, what it will do, it will tell you you need to complete the integration. So this is what the box looks like right now. But first it says, okay, well, who are we integrating with? Okay. And by the way, if you change anything, you can reload here. And remember, these are the ones that I've already integrated. So I'm going to hit MailChimp. Okay, and then once I hit MailChimp, it automatically goes over and grabs the MailChimp information. Remember, because I did the integration, and I can reload. Oops, I didn't mean to reload that one. Sorry, clicked on the wrong one. But I can reload this and go over and grab a list. So this list right here is what it's pulling from my MailChimp. So I'll do my free download offer. And then integrate with lead notifications and web host. We will talk about that a little bit later. But right now we're not integrating with a web host because I'm not doing a webinar. But if I was, I could simply hit yes. And you'll notice it says, okay, right now you're not integrated with a web host, which means you'd have to go integrate with a web host over in the integrations tab. And so basically the integrations work the same way. You just turn them on and then it asks for information similar to what it's doing up here. Here's your Facebook. Okay, if you want to do a Facebook registration. And we will go over these more advanced topics a little bit. We're just doing your basics right now. And then I hit customize this form. Okay, once I've actually set up the integration, now I can customize this form. Same thing. So integration settings are always first, and I can choose a header image, right? Or I can hide it. Header text. This is the text that goes across the top here. Almost there, right? I can choose to type in here. Right? Choose the font. Choose the size, right? Okay. You could also do that. Form image, right? Choose whatever you want. Say okay. Style a heading, enter your email. Remember the default font, whatever that is. Change the size. You can also change the color. I'm just not doing that. Your heading, oops, sorry. Form style, background color of the form, dashed or datted, datted, I can't talk. Border color. So you can customize it, okay? What's your submit button look like? So this is where you can continue your branding. This wants to be a call to action, so it has to be a verb. You want them to take an action, so make sure you start it with something, click or get or whatever. Then you can change your border style, all this kind of stuff. You can lock the sliders, you can change the border color and so on, okay? Privacy policy, if you have, that's underneath the button. We hate spam, whatever it might be. Tracking codes. Now, tracking codes we're going to come back into in just a minute, but this has to do with like Google Analytics and those type of things. And then thank you pages, and we'll come back to that, but there's a default thank you page that's already set up. I'll show you how to create a thank you page for this later. We'll change that. And then what fields are you asking for on your form? I want my first name. Okay, so first name. And I can actually move these. So first name goes first. Okay, I can ask what's your favorite color if I want. And then, okay. Okay, now you'll notice it allows me to save the page. So what frustrates me is if you're done with the page and you just want to save it, you have to set up the integration before it'll let you save it, because otherwise it'll tell you you have to do the integration first. Okay, so there it is. Once you save it, you also want to publish it. And when you publish it, it will give you a link that you can view it at. So there it is. And then you can actually click on this and you could actually walk through it, which we'll do in the next one. We'll do through the whole testing thing. Now, there are other ways that you can publish it. We'll talk about. You can do WordPress, you can do Facebook, you can do your own server, and you can also share it. This section is just a creation. We'll go into sharing and some more of the advanced ones a little bit, as well as analytics and A/B testing. But take a look at it on your tablet, take a look at it on your phone, okay? And then this button just shows you the whole page, okay? Simple, simple. And so now I'm going to close this by clicking on the X when it's done, and you'll see it listed under Leadpages. Here it is right here. And from this page, you can see the publish date, and then you can also see your conversion information. So real quick, we selected a template. We did free or premium. We just started with a free. Every template is different. You can hide the items that you don't want, whether you want to hide them in the bar or you can hide them on the visual page. Again, customizing styles, the styles available, different per template. Make sure you brand it so it matches your branding colors or your client's colors. And then your calls to action. In order to save the page, you have to have the calls to action. So you want to make sure that your integrations are done. And if you're going to integrate with something, you have to make sure that you've set up the integrations under settings. And so this one, we just did a quick MailChimp example. So your homework, I want you to create a lead page using one of the standard templates. You can choose whatever type that you want. Update the content and styles. You can use lipsum.com and put your branding on it, and then do an integration with MailChimp that's already set up. We'll look at more integrations as we go, but at least get a solid foundation here. You can name it whatever you want. If you want to share it in the Facebook group when you're done so everybody can take a look at it, feel free to do so. We'll be happy to see that. And if you have any questions, make sure to email us, post in our private Facebook group, comment below, or click the help button in the upper right hand corner. The next session, we're going to do basically what we did here, but we're going to use the drag and drop templates instead. Thanks for your time. I'll see you next time. Bye.